Hey guys, Alan Bishop back with the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute, your source for presumably correct distillation information. And this week's going to be super cool because I have a lot of projects lined up, including the awesome 13 Stills Jason Wade Harrell crossover still that I helped design and come up with that we're calling the Black Forest model. We're going to get into that very shortly. We're going to get into some methodology with that. We're going to jump into some of those fermentation kits I put out there because that still is sized at 5 gallons. If you didn't notice, those fermentation kits are sized at 5 gallons. There's a reason for that for sure. It's going to be really cool still. It covers a lot of bases where you don't have to buy a bunch of extra equipment. You get it all in one package. But today, just checking in real quick on my way home from work. Stopped by one of my favorite places in the world, and I will not identify where it is other than it's in Salem, Indiana. A good friend of mine who has a small orchard and some nut trees and things of that nature, but he planted this pawpaw from seed several years ago, seed that he picked up I believe from a tree near the Washington County Fairgrounds, and this thing usually gets a pretty good crop on it. For those of you that don't know what a pawpaw is, it is the northernmost growing relative in the banana family. Here in the Black Forest of southern Indiana, pawpaws are incredibly popular. They sometimes call them Indiana bananas. Sometimes they call them Kentucky bananas if you're in Kentucky, Michigan bananas if you're in Michigan, etc. But here in the Black Forest of southern Indiana, this was a sort of a tertiary distillation crop, as it were. Say you had a really bad year with apples and peaches and pears. You might turn to pawpaws. You can make spirit out of pawpaws. I would highly encourage you not to. There is hepatotoxicity there. Particularly in the seed and seed membrane. I also suspect that it's in the skin of the pawpaw, given the bitterness of the skin of the pawpaw. There's a ton of stories here from southern Indiana, especially in years before Prohibition, where there wasn't much of an apple or a peach crop, where people did turn to distilling pawpaws, and it caused a rash of poisonings because there's a lot of methanol present in pawpaws. I have distilled them in the past. I will tell you that they make, to me, a very fiery spirit. A spirit that doesn't taste nearly as good as what you would expect it to, considering how good the pawpaw itself tastes. I don't think that personally that they're worthwhile to distill. That said, use your better judgment. If you want to mess with them, go ahead. Fair warning though, don't say I didn't tell you one way or the other. There are some cool things that go on with pawpaws though, so they are slightly medicinal. They ripen just slightly before persimmons do, and ironically, pawpaws have anti-tumor compounds, while persimmons can actually cause benign tumors. So if you've never seen a pawpaw, I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you what one of them looks like. These are pretty large for what they are, considering that this was actually grown from a wild pawpaw. Wild pawpaws out in the woods tend to be an understory plant. They don't get a lot of light, so they don't typically make great big pawpaws. This tree is out in the open. Let's see if I can... So it gets plenty of sunlight, and it usually, like I said, has quite a few on it. I'll walk around the tree here and see if I can find a couple to actually show you. The leaf is interesting, much like a plantain or a banana, obviously. I know there's a little clump of them up here somewhere. Well, maybe you can see. Yeah, you see those up there? There's two of them right there. So this plant is actually pollinated by flies, of all things, which may be a hint to them being a little poisonous, but these are the ripe ones. And when a pawpaw is ripe, it is soft and mushy. These could actually even go just a little bit longer. The softer they get before they turn brown, the sweeter they tend to be. If you do distill with these, it is super important to get the skin off of them. Don't use anything touching the skin. Get the seeds out of them, and the seeds actually have a membrane on the inside too that is super freaking tannic that you do not want in there. The only luck I ever had distilling them, truthfully, is using about 10 to 15% pawpaw and a bunch of bananas. And truthfully, for no more than what the pawpaw added to it, I'd probably just been better off doing 100% banana brandy, in all honesty. But it is a cool native plant, a medicinal plant, something that has been used for distilling in the past, has a history here in the Black Forest of southern Indiana, and I thought I'd share it with you. And I'm not even joking. I love to eat these things. Like, I can't wait to get one of them open here in a second. Matter of fact, you know what? I think we will open one up and let you guys see what the inside of a pawpaw looks like if you've never seen one. Let me grab one here. I'm not going to eat that giant one right this second because that's a lot. This one's pretty good size too, but may not have a choice. The big one's the ripest one. All right. go over here and be incredibly sanitary and open it up on my car and eat it off my car. Hold on a second, guys. You can pop them open with your hands too, but I got a pocket knife. Every distiller ought to, there's two things every distiller ought to have on hands at all times, and that's a good watch and a good pocket knife. See if we can get her to where you guys can see her here. I'm gonna end up with this all in my beard and all over me. I ain't even gonna lie, and you know what? I ain't ashamed of it. Let me set the phone down just a second. All right, so there you see that custardy consistency that I was telling you about, and they are very custardy. The seeds are really easy to germinate. They're huge seeds. You'll notice as I pull this out, there's kind of a mucousy membrane that sticks to that seed. Even though it looks like flesh and there is some flesh on there, you don't want any of that membrane if you're going to ferment this. So these seeds are really easy to pop up. These that I'm going to eat right now, I'm going to throw back underneath that tree because I've got about 4,000 seedlings of these off of this tree at home right now. So flavor is best described as somewhere between a mango and a banana. As a matter of fact, a lot of the old timers around here call them mangoes. That one's falling apart on me, but I thought you guys see how foolish I look trying to eat this thing. Can't even hold on to it with one hand. It's falling apart. That's a once a year ordeal right there. Too good for God to keep them around all year round. It's a little gift to us, a little present, a little something special from the Garden of Eden. All right, guys, catch up with you soon. Check into thealchemistcabinet.com. Order your autographed copy of the Alchemist Cabinet Philosophy Volume 1 book, or order from the Amazon link in the link tree. I usually put it in the descriptor down here in the YouTube videos. It's on social media, my bio, etc. The Alan Bishop Experience Expanded DVD is on its way. My talk about historic distilling, the Black Forest of Southern Indiana from the Salem, Indiana Depot DVD is on its way. Those are going to be on the store soon. Lots of new merchandise coming, shirts, hats, mugs, etc. We're going to have all that stuff, guys. And a link for the 13 Stills Black Forest distillation unit, as well as some Donna jugs coming up from another gentleman. So stay tuned, y'all. If you have any questions, reach out to me, bishopshomegrown@gmail.com, or in social media or the YouTube comments below. Later, guys.